We have joining us this afternoon, and I really appreciate him taking the time to join us. He's calling all the way from California, so it's only 2:30 your time, if I'm not mistaken. Former Lieutenant Governor Abel Maldonado. I'm going to say governor because you carry the title. Good afternoon and welcome to the program.
Lockwood, it's my honor to be on your program. How are you today?
Doing well. And am I right? About 2:30 your time? Is that?
That's exactly correct. 2:30 my time. So
yeah.
we're excited out here on the West Coast for this debate, and we'll see how it goes tonight.
Okay. All right. Just as the opening request. How do you pronounce the vice president's first name?
Kamala.
All right. Okay. We've got it confirmed from somebody who knows.
And you better not say Kamala, because she gets really upset, and so does her friends. So there you have it.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll try not to say Kamala, but anyhow, Kamala. All right. We're joined by former Lieutenant Governor Abel Maldonado, and he's a Californian by multi-generations, and a farmer at that, and a cattle rancher. Governor, the question I've got for you tonight is, what should we expect in the debate? There's a lot of questions, and as a matter of fact, very critical reviews about both her, and we've got to get to the press corps as well. But my question is, what should we expect? We've seen sort of a transition, a remaking of an individual, but how much of it is just smoke and mirrors?
First of all, we heard what Bernie Sanders said on Sunday.
Right.
He said Kamala's just got to say what she's got to say to get elected.
Isn't that?
And then she can go back to her values. She says her values haven't changed. And I think that says a lot, Lockwood, because I know her very well. I mean, we were both constitutional office holders here in California. She was obviously the Attorney General. I was a Lieutenant Governor with Arnold Schwarzenegger. So we know her very, very well. I personally know her very well from her days in the District Attorney's office in San Francisco. And I think just to set everything straight, Lockwood, she is a sanctuary city supporter. Mm-hmm. She is very, very liberal. I mean, and she knows that her liberal politics don't play on a nationwide basis, especially in swing states. So tonight, I look forward to seeing what she's going to say. Let's see if she continues to say that her values haven't changed, because if they haven't, I can just tell you exactly what she's done in California, Lockwood. She doesn't like to call ICE.
Right.
She wanted to defund ICE.
Mm-hmm.
She believes in illegal immigration, and
mm-hmm.
what do I mean by that? She cuddles them. She allows them to do whatever the heck they want, and gives them authority to be very, very sincere. And it's unfortunate, but in California, you need to remember that in California, Kamala Harris was never a good candidate, but you don't have to be a good candidate in California if you're a Democrat, because this is a deep, deep blue state. And it's deep blue state, Lockwood, because Republican voters have left. They've left to Nevada, they've left to Arizona, they've left to Texas, they've left to Tennessee, they've left to Florida, and I wouldn't be surprised North Carolina as well.
Oh, yeah.
So it's, the last governor that we had here was Governor Schwarzenegger and myself, and the registration was already trending downward. But we had a governor here named Pete Wilson and George Deukmejian here in California. Mm-hmm. 16 years of Republican gubernatorial elections, and then that was kind of the bottom of it. And here we are. The registration today, I think we're at 24%, probably lower than independents and declined states. So it's been disheartening, Lockwood, and we're just grateful as Republican Californians, grateful for swing states, and hopefully we can re-elect President Donald J. Trump.
She has this California mindset, and I'm just going to use an example. Most recently, which was really kind of surprising, that somebody calls him Gruesome Newsom, former Governor Newsom vetoed the $150,000, I think it was $150,000 first-time buyer's mortgage payment. I can't imagine that this is something that is anything other than a California thinking.
Absolutely. And the only reason Gavin Newsom vetoed it is because there was a national spotlight on this bill, on this issue, because President Trump brought it up. The campaign brought it up. And they were asking Kamala Harris if she supported it. And it became such a huge issue on a national basis that he vetoed it.
Mm-hmm.
But if Kamala wasn't running for president and it wasn't a national, he would have signed it. It is just natural what Gavin Newsom would sign. I mean, both him. We got to remember, Kamala Harris is a San Francisco liberal politician. So is Gavin Newsom. So is Jerry Brown. So is Dianne Feinstein. So is Barbara Boxer. It is a very, very liberal socialist party there in San Francisco, and so those issues are wanted there in San Francisco. And Gavin obviously vetoed it because let me just be very sincere here. I think he's going to vote for Trump, and I'm going to tell you why. He wants to run for president. He doesn't want Kamala Harris to win.
Right.
So, and then that's probably another way he vetoed it. But it gives you a flavor, Lockwood, of what we have here in our state. Such a beautiful state with everything, to be very sincere. San Francisco, in my mind, one of the most beautiful cities in the world, Lockwood. It's destroyed.
I know.
It is destroyed.
You and I were talking about this off air. Of course, I lived in California during my period in the Navy, San Diego, San Francisco, Walnut Creek, Concord area.
Yes.
So what's interesting, and I'm wondering, what is it about California that there is, if you will, this lack of contact with reality? That's what I would call it. What is it?
You know, what happened, Lockwood, is that we had a two-party system here in California, and in the mid-'90s, it started to go away. Arnold Schwarzenegger comes into the picture. If you recall, the people of California, we had blackouts, we had brownouts, they called them. We weren't building power plants. And then the people got upset, and they recalled Governor Gray Davis.
Right.
And then during that recall, Lockwood, we had an immediate 8-week race. Arnold Schwarzenegger comes into play. He's a movie star. He's an international movie star. He gets elected, but the state was already going blue. However, he happens to be married at the time to a very good Democrat person, Maria Shriver Kennedy, and Arnold gets elected, and he's there for 6 years, Lockwood, and then after that, it goes downhill. Our voters just decided to leave, and the electorate became very, very liberal that was left, and the politicians catered to liberal, and they started voting for a bunch of bad legislation. And here we are. I mean, for example, let me just give you a quick example. We have I'm sure you're going to hear the name Edwin Ramos tonight because I briefed the campaign on this. Edwin Ramos, MS-13 gang member, comes to California, goes to San Francisco. He robs a person. He gets apprehended. Kamala Harris doesn't prosecute, doesn't call ICE, lets him go. 3 weeks later, he does it again. Kamala Harris doesn't prosecute. Kamala Harris does not call the INS. And you would think that they would pick up the phone and call the immigration department and say, hey, we have an illegal alien who's caused 2 crimes here. Nope. Wouldn't pick up the phone. Sanctuary city. Puts him actually in a juvenile hall. Lets him out. About a month later, Lockwood, this guy gets pulled over. He's got a loaded gun in his car. Was using a double homicide. Kamala Harris, police department, get him. Kamala Harris doesn't prosecute, lets him go. Can't pick up the phone to call INS. And then on the 4th time, Lockwood, he murders a father and 2 sons.
I remember.
And it's just horrible. And it happens a lot. And this one got a lot of notoriety. Kamala didn't call for the death penalty. The wife wanted the death penalty. The family wanted the death. She said no. So it gives you a flavor how liberal Kamala Harris is, and that's why they've hidden her. They've hidden her because she can't answer. she doesn't have an answer. So they've hidden her. Tonight she's coming out after about 50 days.
Right.
You saw the one on CNN, Lockwood. It was pretty much a nothing burger interview, and she still fumbled the ball. But then again, you don't have to be a good politician in California if you're a Democrat. You just go through the cracks. So here we are tonight, one of the biggest debates ever in our country, in America. And I'm looking forward. I think President Trump's going to do very, very well because he's talking to people. He's in tune with the issues. She's not.
Again, former Lieutenant Governor Abel Maldonado with us this afternoon from California knows, obviously, the circumstances related to Kamala as opposed to Kamala, but Kamala Harris. And thank you very much for clarifying how I pronounce her name. You're saving me some. I'm sure I'll get some letter of criticism on this. But the other aspect of this, and I'm just curious about the observations you would have related to the willingness on the part of the press, and that's really been bugging me something seriously. The willingness of the press not to hold her accountable. Is it that, or is she just that quick and slippery, for want of a better description, that the press can't really tie her down? Your thoughts on that?
I think, Lockwood, it's the press. The press has given her a pass.
Okay.
We're immune to this already. This hiding, not talking to the press, not having press conferences. In California, she did this as well. This is nothing new for her. Actually, she took it one step further in California. In order to answer a press question, she would ask the press to send the question via email, and she would respond via email. That's what politicians do in California, and now she's trying to incorporate that at the national level, and I'm kind of shocked that the national press would give her that pass, and I think they've given her the pass because they don't like Donald J. Trump. But you know what? I think it's going to come home to roost tonight, because when you don't talk to people, you're afraid of your socialist policies. They don't match the country. I think tonight we're going to see it. She's good. I mean, she's been briefed for 5 days. Right. If she remembers a line or two, good for her. But you got to answer the questions tonight. We'll see how it goes.
Was her cackle as obvious when she was the attorney general, when she was the district attorney there in San Francisco, or is that something that's is that sort of a nervous laugh on her part?
I think you hit it on the head, Lockwood. It's a nervous laugh. She doesn't know how to answer the question. She laughs. She tries to think, what's the question? How am I going to answer it? And then she goes from there. And you are 100% right. It is a nervous, I don't know the answer, let me figure it out laugh to postpone. We've seen this for 15 years in California from Kamala Harris. So now people are witnessing on a national basis, and we're going to hear it tonight. She's going to do that. You know what? The mics are going to be off tonight, so she can't say, "Excuse me, I'm speaking." That was kind of her go-to line in California. She's only had one debate in her life.
Right.
So this is number two, and the one was with Pence. This is number two. President Trump's had 7 debates, so I think he's going to be fine. He needs to stay on his message. We know what the message is: border, crime, economy. Period. This is a change election for America. People want change. Kamala Harris is continuity to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris administration. Period.
Wait. I've got to ask about that. I'm sorry. I'm glad you touched on that before we wrap things up here with you, and I really appreciate your time. I'm sorry. Who was that other person you named? Joe
Biden.
Yeah. Well, okay. Remember, by the way, you may have missed it, but Karine Jean-Pierre said there is no daylight between the vice president and the president on any of the issues. Yet I'm not hearing anything about Joe Biden. I'm hearing everything about, if you will, her efforts to avoid any of a relationship with Joe Biden. And by the way, I am wondering about the disclosures that were released 2 days ago related to Afghanistan, and the fact that it's been clearly remarked on that President Biden was informed by everyone involved not to make that precipitous departure from Afghanistan, evacuation, surrender, if you really get right down to it. But my question is, does Kamala Harris have the capacity to answer, or if you will, deflect pointed questions that we can, or pointed comments that we can expect this evening? Does she have that ability?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's no secret. She was a prosecutor.
Okay.
She wasn't a strong prosecutor. I mean, you don't get criminal illegal aliens and let them go on the streets. That's not a prosecutor. She's a very liberal prosecutor from San Francisco, and everything. And if you look at San Francisco, it says all about her. And I hope that the people of North Carolina wouldn't allow her to do to North Carolina what she did to San Francisco. I'll be very sincere.
You know what? I think that's the best description. That we'll close on that. Forget North Carolina. Just take a look at San Francisco and California and imagine the rest of the country to be just the same way. That's a frightening
100%.
thought. Frightening thought. Governor, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. It's been a pleasure. I'm confident you'll be watching the debate this evening.
Absolutely, I'll be watching everything. Everything will be quiet. I'm going to listen to every word, and we're going to watch Kamala Harris stumble because she is way over her head here.
Well, be interesting. I hope you're right. I want to thank you for your time this afternoon. Former Lieutenant Governor Abel Maldonado with us this afternoon from California. Best to you, sir. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Lockwood. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Our pleasure.